David. Can you hear and see me okay?
Hi, teacher.
How are you doing?
Fine, thanks. And you?
I'm doing well, thanks. So welcome to class. This class is called Stories in the News, and we're going to talk about active and passive verb formations.
Okay.
So my name is Michelle, and I'll be your teacher today. So we're going to focus on how to form and use the passive form, which is commonly found in news articles and reports. So we're going to go over grammar first, and then we'll do some short exercises. We're going to read about some news stories, and then we're going to watch a video and see if we can find the different passive forms. So first I'm going to share a slide about why the passive form is important. So why the passive form? So it's useful in many situations. The most important two are when you want to emphasize the object or person receiving the action instead of who is performing or giving the action. So for example, if you want to talk about a building, but you don't want the emphasis to be on the architect or the constructor or the people that built the building, you can say the building was built, the building was completed. It's a good way to shift the focus. The other way is if we don't know the active party. Right? So we could say the protest was started at 4 o'clock, but we don't know who started the protest, right? So if we want to emphasize a newly published book, instead of focusing on the publishing company, we could say the new book by J.K. Rowling was published last month and has already become very popular. Hi, Salmon. Welcome to class. Can you hear and see okay?
Yes.
Simon. Simon?
Hello, how have you been?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
Welcome to class. So I'm going to go through the description one more time since you've just come into class. So this class is called Stories in the News, and we're going to be focusing on active and passive verb formations. So first we're going to be looking at the grammar, a little bit of how we form the passive voice, and then we'll do some reading, some short exercises, and then we're going to watch a video about a news story and see if we can find how they use the passive voice. Sound good? Okay, so I was just explaining to David what the good things about the passive voice were. So I was saying that sometimes it's good when we don't know the party who's doing the action. We can say, you know, the building was built in 2011, but we don't know who built it. It's fine because we can use the passive voice. Or if we want to emphasize the object. So if we want to emphasize, say, a painting, we can say the painting was created in 1913, the painting was sold. So it's a good way to avoid talking about the person who's doing the action if we want the focus to be on something else. So here we go. So this is going to be how. So have either of you ever had experiences with the passive voice? David, what about you? Do you know what the passive voice is? David, have you seen the passive voice before? Hello? David?
Yes.
Yeah, are you familiar with the passive voice? Okay, so we're going to start going to how we form it. So to form the passive voice, first we combine the verb to be in the present, future, or past with the past participle of the action verb that the subject is receiving. So, for example, the protest was started by passers-by late afternoon on Sunday. So, as you can see, for the passive voice in the past, we combine the conjugation of to be, which is in this case was, and the past participle of start, right? So, Simon, can you think of another example of the passive voice in the past using was or were in a past participle?
Okay, for sure. Okay, my example is the money was kept in my pocket.
Perfect. Awesome. Good job. What about you, David? Can you think of an example of the passive voice in the past using was or were in a past participle? David, can you hear me?
Read. Um,
Sorry, did you hear my can you hear me, David? Here, I'll write to you in the box. So I was asking if you can you think of an example of the past? Sure, go for it.
the protest.
Mm-hmm.
The protest was started by passersby late afternoon on Sunday.
Sure, that's the example in this text. Good. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the passive voice in the present and the future. So, for example, if we're talking about the future, I could say the film will be directed by Scarlett Johansson and comes out next year. So as you can see for this one, in the future, we conjugate to be in the future, which would be will be, and then the past participle of direct. And then another example in the past, or sorry, in the present, is the table is made with only the finest materials and rare wood. So again, we conjugate the verb to be in the tense that we want. In this case, it's the present, so it's going to be is, or are if it's a plural subject, and then the past participle of make. So Simon, can you think of an example either in the present or the future of the passive voice?
The film will be directed by Scarlett Johansson and comes out next year.
Good, David. Could you think of an example that's not on the slide, one that you make up? You make up a new one?
Can I take the floor?
Sure, Simon, go ahead.
Okay, I will be given an assignment so that I can get what I want.
You will what? Sorry, one more time?
I'll
Sorry.
be given
I will be given. Okay.
an assignment so that I can get what I want.
Good job. So in that case, you use the past participle of give, which is given. Good, and the future will be. Awesome, good job. Okay, so what about you, David? Can you think of a new example, one that's not on the screen? Can you think of an example that is not on the screen? Using the future, past, or present passive voice. So for example, you could say the book was published last year. You could say the movie was directed by Wes Anderson. The building is constructed with wood and metal. Could you think of any examples, David?
Maybe you gotta make sure that you can hear it well.
Okay, can you hear me okay now?
Hello,
David?
Michelle.
Hi, David. Can you hear me okay?
Hello. Can you hear me well?
Simon, I can hear you fine. I don't think David can hear me, or there's a problem with his video, but that's fine. We'll go forward anyway.
Okay.
Okay, so any questions on how to form the passive voice, Simon? Or do you think you got it?
It's fine.
Okay, good. So let's look at how we form. So this is how we do the first part, right? The verb to be. So we can do will be, is, are, were, was. And then the second part, right, is past participles. So there's irregular past participles and regular past participles. So the way that we know that past participles are regular is if they are the exact same as the past simple. So, for example, to study in the past simple is studied, right? He studied a lot last night. But since this verb to study is a regular verb, the past participle is the same. So I could say the books were studied by the students a lot. So the nice thing about regular past participles is they're the exact same as the past simple, so you don't have to learn a new conjugation. So these are some examples. So Simon, could you read the examples? To study, studied, to interview, interviewed.
Okay, to study, to interview, interviewed,
Good.
to lose,
Mm-hmm.
to interview, interviewed, to lose, to lost, to
Lost. Good.
investigate,
Uh-huh.
to investigate, investigated,
Mm-hmm.
to report, reported, to paint, painted, to view, viewed, to start, started, to finish, finished.
Good. Awesome. Good job.
Can you pronounce it interviewed?
Interviewed. Interviewed.
But sometimes I say interviewed.
Interview. Yeah, so it's tricky. So the pronunciation of the past simple, right, the ed, is sometimes a challenge for English learners.
Yeah, I'm learning about it.
Yeah, so here, I'll go read through them for just a moment. I'll go studied, interviewed, lost, investigated, reported, painted, built, started, and finished. So, good. Okay. So these are regular formations. So like I said, they're a lot easier than the irregular ones because they're the exact same as the past simple. So now we're going to take a look at the irregular past participles. So these ones are a little bit harder because I have in parentheses the past simple. So these are irregular past participles because they are different from the past simple form of the verb, right? So for example, to write is not wrote, it's written. Exactly. Okay.
Sing.
Yeah. Good. Could you read? To see becomes what?
To see, sing.
Seen. So for example, right? So the movie was seen by 1 million people, right? Good. Was seen. Good. So not saw, right? Because if we use the past simple, it could be I saw the movie yesterday. So they're different. Okay. So what about to be?
To be, been. It's been a great movie, I will say.
Good. So yeah, exactly. What about take?
To take, taken. It was taken from my car.
Exactly. You could say so. You could say my radio was taken from my car. So you're not going to say my radio was took, right? Because took is the past simple and taken is the past participle. Good. So as you can see, with some of these, right, almost all of them, the irregulars end with an N, right? Written, seen, been, taken, exactly.
Broken, known, spoken, worn, and flown.
Exactly. So while they're irregular, they're only irregular because they're not the same as the past simple. But there is some uniformity, so it's a little bit easier to know how to make the past participle out of these words, right? So how about to know? What's the past participle for to know? Could you read it out loud?
Known.
Known. Good. Can you think of an example with the passive voice and the past participle known?
He's known for being a good person.
Exactly. So this is one that's very common when we're talking about passive voice, right? Because people are known for certain things, right? So if I say, right, Pablo Picasso was a very famous painter. He was known for a certain style, right? So this is one of the most common uses of the passive voice is when we use known. Exactly.
Yeah, seen it.
Good. Awesome. Okay. Any questions so far?
No, it's perfect.
Okay, good.
I hope I'm being a good student.
You are. Oh, okay. So we lost we lost David. So no worries. Okay, I think he was having some connection problems. Okay, so it's just us for now. Good. Good. Okay. So no questions on the irregular past participles?
No, it's perfect.
Okay. So now let's do some reading. Could you read this for me?
Okay, sure. Do I read the title?
Yep, everything. Starting here.
Reading famous painting to be sold.
Okay.
Breaking news from Washington. From Washington. Our sources have notified us that a famous painting by Pablo Picasso is now for sale after 45 years of its owner refusing to sell. The painting was created by Picasso in the last few years of his life and was collected by the famous gallery owner Pete Sands in 1989.
Good.
Why,
1989. Good.
why the sudden change of heart? Is Pete or Peter?
Pete. Just Pete. Pete Sands.
Pete, Pete said to the press that he needed the money after a hard financial year. The painting will be sold by auction to the highest bidder next month.
Good. So
Is
stopping
bidder?
there. Oops, sorry. Do you have any questions? Any words or vocabulary that you don't know in this paragraph?
Okay, bidder. Bidder.
Bitter. This one? Good. So when we're talking, do you know what an auction is?
Yeah, it's like you gotta sell something, but it's like I have seen a program that people fight so that they can buy things very cheap.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, right? So, do you know the website eBay? eBay, right? So eBay is like an online auction, right? Online auction. So the way that auctions work is
Yeah.
that people make individual bids, right? So people make bids on items. So to make a bid is saying like, I'll pay $100 and someone else can make a higher bid and say I'll pay $200. So the people that are making these
Mm.
bids are called bidders, right?
Oh
So
my goodness, I didn't know.
bidder, yeah, that's fine. And so then
I've
when it
seen
says,
uh,
mhm,
I've seen this in the program that I watch.
uh-huh,
Yeah,
the word
it's
bidder,
great. Thanks.
yeah, okay, great. Yeah, so
Not
then when
exactly, but
okay, yeah. So the phrase highest bidder, right, just means the person that offers the most money, right? The highest amount of
yeah,
money. So the item usually goes to the highest bidder, right? The person that's willing to pay the most money. Okay.
yeah, they try to compete so that the one who pays more,
Hmm.
they will take the the stuff.
Hmm. Exactly, right? So there's also a phrase called bidding war. I'm gonna write it here. A bidding war. A bidding war is when two people are in a war, right, about an object, and one person says 100, then 105, 110, 112, and the price goes up and up and up. That's
Yeah.
called a bidding war, right? Exactly. Great. Okay. So any other, here I'm going to pull it back up, any other words in this paragraph that are new words, new vocabulary?
It's okay.
No? Okay. Okay, so let's do this one. Can you read paragraph 2?
Okay, the painting is certified to be a true Picasso and was painted in the famous artist home studio. Artist home studio.
Mm-hmm. Good.
The estimate price of this painting could reach over $2 million. $2 million.
Good.
Art collectors were shocked by the price of this Picasso painting, who will be the next owner of this rare gem. The auction will be broadcasted publicly next month.
Good. Yeah. Broadcasted publicly next month. Okay, so what about this paragraph? Any questions on any new words, any vocabulary that you're not familiar with?
No, I was confused. I was confused about gem, but I know what it is. What it's
About which one?
gem, but I know what it.
Oh, gem.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's like
Right.
a jewel. I don't. It's like I'm gonna write it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so it's like a jewel.
Yeah.
Yeah, jewel, right? Jewel like this. But it's also, exactly. But it's also like a phrase, right? Like a common phrase that we say, like rare gem. Rare gem doesn't necessarily have to do with jewelry, right? But it's kind of like a saying, like an idiom, right? So if something is really difficult to get a hold of, I could say, oh, what a rare gem, right? What a unique thing. What a hard thing to get a hold of,
It's
right?
great because, yeah, I got it.
Yeah, so it's just it's a phrase. So since the painting is really rare and really hard to get, it's who will be the owner of this rare gem, right? So it's just a phrase. Okay. Okay. Anything else that's new or difficult for you in this paragraph?
No, it's okay.
It's okay. Okay, good. Okay, so now let's look at the first one again. So can you see any examples of the passive voice in this first paragraph?
Okay, I'm gonna take a look and I will tell you.
Sure. Take your time.
The painting was created by Picasso.
Exactly.
The next one,
Was created. Perfect. Right? Because then in this sentence, like I was saying before, it makes the focus of the sentence the painting, right? Not Picasso. Good.
okay. It was collected.
Exactly. And was collected by the famous gallery owner Pete Sands. Good.
Okay, I'm checking it out.
There's one more in that
Will
paragraph.
be sold.
Exactly. Good. So these last two examples were the past, right? Past passive voice, and this is in the future, right? It will be sold by auction. Exactly. Awesome. Good job. Okay. What about
Yes.
this one? The next paragraph.
Okay. The first one was painted.
Was painted. So there's one more before that. So this is the
It's
past.
certified to.
Is certified. Good. This is the present tense passive voice, right? The painting is certified to be a true Picasso, right? Because we don't know who certified it, right? But we're talking about the painting, so it is certified. Good. So this is the first one, and then the second one. Any more?
Okay, workshop.
Exactly. Art collectors were shocked by the price. Exactly. The price shocked them, but this is the passive, so the art collectors become the subject. Good.
Okay, and I found one more.
Uh-huh.
Will be broadcasted.
Exactly. Good. The auction will be broadcasted publicly next month. Awesome. Good. Any questions?
Yeah,
We're going to check if it's right. So let's see. Let's see
I
how we
got.
did. Yep. I think we did a good job, right? So the painting was created, was collected, will be sold, is certified, was painted, were shocked, and will be broadcasted. Awesome.
Right.
Good job. You got all of them.
Thank you so much.
Of course. So, any questions about that so far?
No, I
No?
think I'm following with you.
Okay, great. Okay, so now we're going to watch a short video that focuses on some certain vocabulary words, and there's also going to be 2 or 3 instances of the passive voice in this news story. So give me 1 second while I set that up. It should
Okay,
be
do
here.
it. Take your time.
Okay, I think I've got it right here. Can you see? Here we go.
By the way, where are you from?
Sorry, can you see the video?
No, I can't see the video.
No, you can't. Oh no.
Maybe
Do you
you
see
want
it?
to
Does
share
it say
it.
YouTube? If not, I can send you the link. We can try that, or I can do a screen
Okay,
share. Let me try. So let me try this. Okay. Sorry, I thought it was working.
send me the link.
Okay, here I'm gonna do a screen share. Let's see if this
Will
works.
be easier.
Okay. Do you see it now?
Yes, I can see it now.
Okay, here we go.
BBC Learning English.
Can you hear it?
No, I
No?
can't. Maybe you
Okay.
can see me. Can you
Yeah,
send me the link
I'll send you the link and then I'll play it in there.
in order that I can watch it?
Okay, here. The link is in the the chat.
Okay,
But I'm gonna play the video anyway, so that you
I
can
took it.
listen to it and then we'll talk about it. Okay.
Okay, I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Okay.
I will watch it and then I'll be back.
Okay, Simon, let me know when you've finished watching the video. So the video is about a 3D gun that was made with a 3D printer. So since we're talking about the passive voice, right, we're talking about the gun that was made. So, I mean,
Yes,
did you
I
finish
know.
watching the video?
I'll just, I think, 20 seconds and I will down. And I'll be down. And I'm
Okay.
down.
No worries. Yeah, so at the end, they just go over the vocabulary again. So if you've heard the whole story again, that should be enough. Do you have any questions about the story? What do you think? What's your opinion about this new development?
Okay, it's very striking,
Striking? Uh-huh. Why?
but I don't know, but at the same time, I think that is dangerous
Mm-hmm.
and it will create doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, maybe I will be neutral and I will respect what people do.
Okay,
That's
good
it.
response. Did you see any examples of the passive voice in the news report? Any things you remember?
Okay, maybe made or
Made. Exactly, right? The first sentence in the news report, or the title of the news report, right, is 3D gun is made by a 3D printer, right? So it's the passive voice because we're not using the 3D printer as the subject. Instead, the object that the 3D printer created is the subject, so it's the passive voice. Good. Do you remember any other examples from the video? of the passive voice?
Okay, I'll try to. Maybe I would have to restart it again because I'm forgetful, I think.
That's fine. Here, what I can do also is, since there's been some problem with the sound, I can play it on the Google Hangouts, but I'll play the part where they just have the text written, so you can read it
Yes.
instead of having to listen. Okay? So I'll do that real quick.
I understood everything, but it's difficult to remember once you watch
Yeah,
it.
no worries. We'll watch it. We'll watch it again together with the text, and then talk about the
Okay,
passive voice.
great.
So here, let me do that real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. 1, 3. Okay. Good. Okay.
Can you repeat it again because I couldn't see it well?
You couldn't see the
So
video?
I couldn't. Can
No?
you do
Okay.
once again
That's
for me?
fine. That's fine. Here, I'll just write in the chat box the ones that I was
Okay, will
trying to
be
focus
easier.
on. Yeah, no worries. So the first one, like I said before, is made, right? The 3D gun was made. So the other thing is that law enforcement agencies, so like police and different government agencies,
I just see who, but I can't remember the next sentence.
that's okay. No worries. Yeah. So the production here, I'm going to write it in the chat. The production, right, of these firearms, are monitored. Are monitored by law enforcement agencies. So, like we were saying with the passive voice, right? The law enforcement agencies are doing the monitoring, but since in this report the subject is the production of these firearms, we're going to use the passive voice to put emphasis on the production of the firearms instead of the law enforcement agencies.
Yeah. And you know what I have noticed?
What?
That the passive voice is there, but we need to figure it out.
Okay, so the reason that this class in specific is focused on stories in the news, right? Because the passive voice is very useful when we're talking about certain objects, right? Or certain objects that we don't know who's doing the action, right? Like I said before in the examples, the protest was started, the production is monitored, things that we want to switch the emphasis on, right? So we want to focus on the painting, on the building, on the objects, not the people that are making the objects, doing the objects, because sometimes we don't know. Exactly. Okay. Any questions about this video? Sorry.
It's great.
Sorry?
It's great.
That's great. Awesome. Okay. So we're gonna do another exercise like we just did before with the reading. So here we go. So we're gonna read about a robbery at a national bank. Here we go. Could you read up to the first paragraph, up to right here?
Do I have to read the first one or the last one?
Yes, please. This part right here.
Okay.
All the way up until standards. Good.
Reading. Bank robbery at National Bank. Can you give me just a second?
Sure.
Okay. Can you hear me well?
Sorry?
Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
There isn't background.
No background noise. It's good.
Okay.
So, breaking news.
Breaking news from New York. At 7 a.m. yesterday, police were called to the First National Bank. The bank was robbed the previous day between 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. Our sources say $1 million were stolen from private vaults inside the walls of the bank. This comes as a surprise to many because the First National Bank is known for its high security standards.
Good, awesome, good job. Any questions, any new words or vocabulary in this paragraph?
Okay, I vaults, but I figured out that is maybe a cage.
Vaults are what are used in big high security banks to guard either safety deposit boxes or large amounts of money. Yeah, so
Yeah,
they're usually security vaults. They're all right in security vaults.
I
So
understood.
they're the vaults with the big locks right on the front, like the big metal
Yeah,
boxes with the
you
locks.
gotta lock it so that people can't steal it.
Exactly, right. But these robbers managed to break into the vaults. Good, so let's keep reading.
Okay, go ahead.
Second paragraph. This one here. No customers.
No customer or bank employees were hurt in the encounter between the robbers and police. However, two of the seen robbers were shot by police. By police or police?
Police.
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 Police. Police. Those two robbers are now in police custody and will be questioned later as to their activity and involvement the haste. In the haste, some
In the
bank
heist.
employees
Good.
in the haste, some bank employees will also be interviewed by police.
Good. Okay, so what about this paragraph? Any new words or vocabulary?
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah, take your time.
Okay. Let me see. No, it's fine. I understood everything.
Do you know what the word heist means or custody?
Yeah, it's like okay, it's like a robin, but it's when you enter into a bank and you take guns and try to steal people.
Exactly. Good. And what about custody? Do you know what the word custody means?
Okay, I don't know exactly what it means, but in Spanish it's custodia.
So so it's more or less the same thing, right? So if you're in police custody, it means that you were arrested, right? So the robbers that were shot were arrested, and now they're in custody, meaning they're going to be questioned, interviewed, so that they can figure out what happened at the bank. Exactly.
Yeah, sometimes you don't know even in your native language what it means.
Exactly. Right. But so it means that they're in the custody means that they're arrested, right? They're not able to do what they normally do. They're arrested. Good.
So fine.
Exactly. Okay. So now we're going to do what we did with the last written exercise. We're going to try to find instances of the passive voice in this paragraph. So let's look at paragraph 1 and see if we can find where they use the passive voice. So, do you see any examples?
Okay, we're called.
Good. Were called. Police were called. Right? So this is an important example, right? Because this is an example that we were talking about. We don't know who called them, right? They were
Yes.
called, but we don't have a subject of exactly the person who called them. Good. Exactly. Anything else?
Was robbed.
Good. The bank was robbed.
Were stolen.
What? Yeah, exactly. $1 million were stolen. Good.
It's known.
Is known. Exactly. Good. So this is what we talked about before, right? One of the most common ways to use the passive voice is to say is known, right? Things that are known for special things. So in this case, the First National Bank is known for being really good about security. So it's a big deal that it got robbed. Exactly. Good. Okay. What about paragraph 2? Do you see
Were
any examples? Yeah, so no customers or bank employees were hurt. Exactly. Good.
Okay. Were shot.
Were shot. Exactly. 2 of the 7 robbers were shot by police. Exactly. Right, so the focus of the sentence is the robbers, right, not the police. Good. Were shot. Anything else?
Will be questioned.
Will be questioned. Good. So this is an example of the future, right? The future passive voice. Because the robbers will be questioned later as to their activity. So again, we don't really know who will be doing the questioning, but it doesn't matter, right? Because the focus is that the robbers are going to be questioned. Exactly.
Yes. The last
One
one I
more.
think will also be interviewed.
Exactly. Good. Some bank employees will also be interviewed by police. Exactly. Good. Okay, so let's check. Let's see how we did. Okay. I think we did a really good job. Good. So police were called. We got that one. The bank was robbed. Good. $1 million were stolen. And is known. Good. In the second paragraph, were hurt, were shot,
Yes.
will be questioned, and will also be interviewed. Awesome.
Yes.
Good. Good job. We got all of them. Good. Okay. Any questions so far about that particular news article or the uses of the passive voice?
No, I think we are doing it
I
great.
think we're doing great. Awesome. Okay, so let's go back to the different irregular and regular past participles, and let's see if we can think of some more examples. So let's go to the irregular. Here we go. So, can you think of an example of the past participle of to fly? What's a sentence using the passive voice that uses to fly? Can you think of an example? And can you write it in the chat?
Okay, I'll think about it and I'll write it right away.
Okay.
Okay.
So what kind of things can you fly, right? So when we're thinking about forming examples, we kind of have to think backwards, right? Because it's a passive
plane?
voice. Exactly. So what kind of headline or news story could be about a plane that was flown, that will be flown, that is flown? What kind of examples could we think of for a headline of a news story?
Okay, can I say? Okay, the plane that will be flown is the biggest in the world.
Exactly. So so you could say, here, I'll write it. You say the biggest plane in the world will be flown tomorrow at noon, right? So that's a great headline, right? The biggest plane in the world will be flown tomorrow at noon.
I have to add more things, but you did it. Thank you.
Awesome. Good. So let's try one more. So how about take? Let's think of a headline that could be in the passive voice of to take, right? So what kind of things can be taken, and what sort of news headline could you think of for that?
Okay, the child that was taken away, he has returned safely at home.
Exactly. Great. So could you write that sentence in the chat?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll do it.
Good. It's a great example of a headline. Good job. Good. The child that was taken away has returned, right? So it would be has returned safely home, right? Good. So the child that was taken away has returned safely at home. Awesome. That's a great example. Good job. Okay. So let's do one more irregular, and then we'll practice with the regular one. So what about write? Write is always a hard one, right? But there's lots of things that are really useful to use written with in the passive voice, right? Because you can talk about books, magazines, articles, any sort of publication, right? It's usually used in the passive voice. if we either don't know the author, or if we want to put the focus on the book itself and not the publishers or the writer, right? So what's an example of a really interesting news headline that uses the past participle written in passive voice?
Okay, do I have to give you an example with right?
Right, with written. Yeah.
Okay. The article written calls a political hot potato.
Political hot potato. Great. That's an awesome example. Good job. Political hot potato. It's also a good phrase, right? Good phrase to learn. Awesome. Okay, so let's do one more with the regular verb. So these are the easy ones, right? These are the ones that the exact same in the past simple as they are in the past participle. So helpful ones if we're talking about news stories, right, can be interview, investigate, report, start, finish. So can you think of a news headline that uses two of these? Uses two verbs in the passive voice?
Okay, let me choose. Okay, study. I'll choose study. Can you hear me well? Study.
Sorry?
Study. I will choose a study.
Study. Just two of them, Any two that make sense, right?
Okay, I'll do it. Yeah.
And then we're going to do some worksheets, Okay.
Oh, can I change?
Can you change? Sure. You can do any of the verbs you want. So like I was saying, some helpful ones if we're talking about news stories, right? Can be interview, investigate, report.
Okay.
And then we'll look at a specific worksheet and try
to... the new planet that was studied.
The new planet, good, that was studied.
That was studied. It was the hardest one.
The hardest one. Awesome. Good job. Okay. Perfect.
Sometimes
good job. No, good job coming with examples. Sometimes it can be hard to think of examples on the spot. So now what we're going to try to do for the end of class is we're going to practice changing sentences from the active voice into the passive voice. So I have a worksheet that we can work on together. So the sentences are going to be in the active form. So, for example, it's going to say, like, John delivers the mail. But what we're going to have to do is change it into the passive voice to say, the mail is delivered by John, right? So I'm going to share the worksheet here, and we can work on it together. Here we go. Okay, so like I said, the first example, right? John delivers the mail becomes the mail is delivered by him or by John.
Okay.
And the second example we've got here, right, is the active voice is saying the audience enjoyed the concert very much. And then the right way to say that in the passive voice is the concert was enjoyed very much, either by the audience or you can just leave it at that. So can you read number 1 out loud, and then let's try to work on
John wrote a letter to his grandmother.
Good. So how would we switch this sentence into the passive voice?
Let me think about it.
Sure. Take your time.
Oh my goodness.
So what's going to be the subject, right? So what's going to be the new subject, right? So when it's in the active voice, John is the subject, right? Because he's writing the letter. But in the passive voice, what's going to be the subject?
Letter?
What's the focus? Exactly, the letter. So how are we gonna form that sentence? The letter.
John's letter has been written to his grandma.
Yeah, or you could say the letter was written by John for his grandmother. Exactly, those are all right. Could you write the sentence in the chat?
Okay.
So
Do I have to
both
write
examples.
mine or yours?
Yours. Yours, please.
Okay. A young letter was written. His grandmother. Here you are.
Good. John's letter was written to his grandmother. Perfect. Okay, what about number 2? Can you read number 2?
Fire destroyed that beautiful house.
So fire destroyed the beautiful house. So in this sentence, in the active voice, the subject is fire. So if we're going to make it in the passive voice, what's going to be the subject?
Okay, the beautiful house. Now the subject.
Yeah, the subject is going to be the beautiful house.
Yes. The beautiful house was destroyed by a fire.
Exactly. Perfect. Good job. The beautiful house was destroyed by fire. Good. Okay, number 3.
A student took the dictionary from the desk.
Good. The student took the dictionary from the desk. So what's going to be the new subject?
The dictionary.
Good. So how are you going to form that? The dictionary was...
The dictionary that was on the desk was taken by a student.
Exactly, good. Was taken. Perfect. Good formation of the passive voice. The dictionary was taken. Good. Okay, what about number 4?
The movie disappointed us very much.
Good. So this is a little trickier, right? So in this, in the active voice, the movie is the subject. So in the passive voice, who's going to be the subject?
Us.
Us, exactly. So how would we form that sentence?
Okay. We were disappointed by the movie.
Exactly.
Very
we
much.
were disappointed.
We were disappointed.
Perfect. We
Very
were
much
disappointed very much by the movie.
By the movie.
Good. Good job. Okay, number 5.
The little boy drank a glass of milk.
Good. The little boy drank a glass of milk. How would we change that into the passive voice?
Okay. A glass of milk was drunk.
Good. Drunk. It's a tricky irregular verb. Good.
It was drunk for a little boy.
By the little boy,
By
right?
a little boy. Okay,
The other thing to keep in mind is that with passive voices, right? So we're usually talking about like authors, right? So we usually use the word by if we know who they are, right? So like I said before, the 2 useful things about passive voice is if we want to shift the focus or if we don't know who the author is or who's creating it. But if we want to shift the focus, it usually is accompanied by the word by, right? So the book was written by J.K. Rowling. The book was published by Penguin. Exactly. Awesome.
Okay. I was doing a great job, but I was misled by it.
No worries. Okay. So it's good. So that was number 5. So what about number 6?
Okay, the police easily captured the thieves.
Yeah, police easily capture the thieves. So what's going to be the new subject?
The thieves were captured easily by the police.
Exactly. Perfect. Good job. The thieves
They
were
were
easily captured.
yes, captured by the police.
Okay.
The next
Good
one,
job.
the English teacher forgot your address.
Okay, number 7. The English teacher forgot your address. So what's going to be the new subject, the new formation?
Your address was forgotten.
Good. Forgotten.
By the
Was
English
forgotten.
teacher.
Good, exactly, right? So this is another example of an irregular past participle, right? Because forgot is the past simple, and it's not the same as forgotten. But like we went over before, right? Most of the irregular past participles end in N, right? Worn, flown, forgotten. Exactly. Good. Okay, good job. What about number 8?
They started a dancing class last Tuesday.
Good. They started a dancing class last Tuesday. How would you make that a passive sentence?
Okay. The dancing class last Tuesday was started by them.
Exactly. Another way to say
Hello.
that. Sorry?
Go ahead. I'm waiting for you.
Oh, okay, sure. So since it's not a specific subject, right? They started a dancing class last Tuesday. You could also say the dancing class started last Tuesday, right? So you don't need to include them, right? Because it's not specific in the first place, right? You don't know who they are. So if you wanted to make the focus on the dancing class and when it started, it could just be the dancing class started last Tuesday.
Or maybe started last Tuesday.
Exactly. Does that make sense?
It doesn't. It
What
makes
started?
sense, but the word that I said was wrong. Okay, go ahead.
Was, yeah, right? Was started last Tuesday. Right? So this, yeah, so we
Okay,
don't
was
need
started
the
last week.
authors.
I
Okay?
see.
We don't need the
Yeah.
people that started it. Good. Okay. What about number 9?
The maid broke a plate and a cup.
Okay. The maid broke a plate and a cup. So how are we going to change that around to make it in the passive voice?
With a plate and a cup was broken by the maid.
Was broken? Is
Was
the
broken.
subject plural or singular?
Where?
Were, exactly, right? So there's
Because
two things,
we,
right? A
yeah,
plate
play
and
a
a cup.
cup.
Good,
Yes.
exactly. Tricky, yeah. Tricky sometimes.
Yeah.
You got to watch the singular and the plural things. Good, awesome.
Yeah.
Good job, awesome.
I gotta catch it on the air. It's kind of difficult sometimes.
Sometimes, right? No worries. You did a good job. Good. So any questions on that worksheet? You did a good job. It's sometimes it can be tricky to change from the active voice to the passive voice, but you did well. Any questions?
No,
No.
I have understood everything.
Great. So as we're about to end class, right? So any questions at all from the whole class? Does it make it clear the reasons why we use the passive voice, how it can be helpful, and the different ways that we can form it in the past, present, and future? Any questions at all?
No,
No.
you've
None at
done
all?
a great job.
Thank you. Okay, great. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming to the class. So my next class is actually going to be today. I think it's at 6 p.m. Buenos Aires time, so I don't know
Yeah,
what time
try
that is
to.
for you.
I'll
Sorry?
check my schedule and I'll see if I can be available to do
Great.
that.
What time zone are you in currently?
It's just 2 minutes left to
No, sorry.
2 p.m.
Where are you right now in the world? What country are you in?
Okay, I'm in Colombia.
So you're in Colombia. So okay, so yeah, so the time there's a time difference, but it
Yeah.
should show up on Linguistiko in your time zone. Right. So my next class is about business email writing.
Okay, how you are spending Christmas, by the way?
Sorry?
How are you spending Christmas, by the way?
Christmas already
Yeah.
happened, right? In the past. Christmas was last week.
Yeah.
How did I spend Christmas? I was with my
Yeah.
family. It was wonderful.
Oh, great. Where are you from?
I'm from the United States, but I currently live in Argentina.
Oh, great.
Exactly. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming to my class. I hope you had a good time. I hope you learned a lot. And I hope to see you
Okay.
in future Linguistiko classes.
I hope I've been a great student. I'm doing my
Yeah.
best.
Thank you very much.
And whatever thing you can add or I need, you can tell me, please.
Sorry?
Whatever thing you can add to my learning process or I can need, you can tell me, please.
Sure, of course. No worries. No, you've done a phenomenal job. This has been a really productive class. I'm glad you learned so much about the passive voice and news stories. Great. So I hope to see you in another class soon.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.